Hello everybody and welcome to this sort of part 2 to DOS Machine 3.0. If you saw part 1, you'll know that we moved everything from the DOS Machine into this new case, and that was basically it. I wanted to upgrade the motherboard and processor to help give us some better performance. I was trying to upgrade it to a Intel Celeron at 433 megahertz, which would have been a sizable upgrade in terms of performance, especially in games like Quake that are only CPU rendered and would really benefit from the extra performance. However, we were having a bunch of problems with that motherboard in terms of a lot of the games not working right. You know, like Doom was acting really weird, and like some games like Tyrion, I don't think I showed that in the video, but Tyrion also just didn't even load. It just crashed immediately. So I just stuck with the original processor and motherboard, which I ended up putting in here, which is a 233 megahertz Pentium MMX. Until now. I actually did upgrade the CPU. I didn't do it on camera, but thanks to the help of a commenter on the previous DOS Machine video, which I shall put their name up on the screen because I don't remember their name. They kind of helped me remember and sort of semi-confirmed that the AMD K62, the K62 450 that I had in like the version 1 of the DOS Machine, you know, way back, that it should theoretically work on the motherboard of this. And I put it in and it actually works. So I did film me testing it for the first time. I tested it late at night, so the lighting was subpar and I didn't have the tripod or anything set up, so I cut to that footage now. Okay, getting ready for first boot of the K62 test. Power applied. Okay, turns on. Oh my god. Oh. K62 233. I didn't change the front side bus speed, but we're good. Okay, this is going to be test number 2. I've changed the multiplier to 4.5 and the front side bus to 100 megahertz, which is what you're supposed to run this processor at. Okay, 400. So either I didn't put the jumper in right, or the motherboard's not detecting a 400, not detecting 450. So as you can see from that footage, it works. And so now I'm going to set this up and we're gonna turn it on and kind of show you around, maybe show you some benchmarks compared to the Pentium, and give you sort of my final thoughts on the DOS Machine. Alright, so I'm gonna turn it on here. It's still just as loud as it was before. As you can see, AMD K62 400 CPU. It's a 450 megahertz CPU, and I set up the multiplier and the the front side bus and the multiplier correctly. It still only comes up as 400, so I'm guessing the motherboard just doesn't support the K62 at 450 megahertz. Not too big of a deal because it's still a massive upgrade over the Pentium. So we're gonna go ahead here and run some benchmarks using DOSBench. We're going to run the Quake time demo. So this is Quake at 320 by 200, I believe. As you can see, it's running pretty fast. And then it'll give us our average FPS at the end here. As you can see, finished it in 16 seconds, 60.2 FPS. The Pentium I believe got 45 FPS. I'll put up the exact number that I got on the screen. So that's about a 15 FPS improvement. So we definitely made some progress. Alright, so in System Information 8.0, our CPU gets a benchmark of 480-ish. Comparing that to a Pentium 66, you're only about 211. So that score probably doesn't seem right to a lot of you. And it doesn't, because I was actually getting about 700 with the Pentium 233. However, as you can see, it thinks it's a Cyrix 586 at 700 megahertz. So it's clearly not detecting it correctly. I don't know why it's not detecting it correctly, but I have a feeling it's supposed to be much higher than that. Potentially maybe it's supposed to be like 1400, but it's not displaying the 1. That's my theory, potentially. However, what we're going to do now is I'm going to disable both caches in the BIOS and show you the performance we get now, so to hopefully give you a better idea of how older games that, say, run too fast on a Pentium and need like a 386 would perform. Okay, so I went ahead and disabled both caches, both the L1 and the L2. See, we're only getting 26. So with both caches disabled, we're actually less than a 386 DX33, which is very good for games that require about a 386. I was hoping it would be more about at the 386, not lower. So this is more like maybe a 386 SX than a DX33. So now I'm going to enable the L1 cache and give you the benchmark results of that. Okay, so this is with the L1 cache enabled. Again, as you can see, we're already back up to 480. This is just the L1 cache. The L2 cache is disabled. So my theory of this being the wrong thing is much more justified. So now I'm going to disable the L1 cache, but then re-enable the L2 cache to give you that performance. Okay, so this is with the L1 cache disabled and the L2 cache enabled, and as you can see, we're just below a 486 DX33. So maybe around a 486 SX about. I don't know what a 486 SX gets in this test. But as you can see, I can bump the system down to about low 380s to mid-range 386 specs and mid-low range 486 specs. So that will definitely come in handy when, say, running older games. And if you're curious, Windows does still work. Works fine. In fact, it has just as good of performance, if not even better. And we still have our full resolution, our full 65-ish thousand colors, or maybe 64,000. I don't remember the exact number. But yeah, everything still works fine in Windows. Thank God Doom still works fine. And it doesn't have any of that weird, like stuttering and then just like pointing in a random direction that the Celeron was giving us. Also, I suck because my arms are in a very uncomfortable position to play this. But yeah, you can see I can play the game perfectly fine, no problems. I'm not like getting stuck or turning me around in a random direction for some reason. So yeah, Doom survived. In fact, even some older games like Arkanoid. Yep, even Arkanoid works, which is a much older game. See, I think it's from 86, 87? I don't know, it probably said right on the title screen and I didn't look. Oh yeah, the best power-up. Oh, that's enough Arkanoid. The only game that I've noticed that has some sort of weird issues is Tyrion. I don't know if you can really see this or not, but hold on. Let me zoom in on this for you. can see, Tyrion has some weird like artifacting issues. I'm not sure what that is exactly. So it persists over some menus, but like here, it doesn't. It's not here on this menu. And it's not in the actual game. You probably can't see it, but there's no artifacting over here. And it only happens on this side of the screen. It doesn't happen on this side of the screen. Which is weird, I don't know. I've also tried slowing down the processor and stuff to see if it fixed anything. It doesn't, so yeah. As you can see, if I bring this up, you might be able to see it a little bit. There is some artifacting over here then, but only when the menu's up. As soon as I put the menu down, the weird artifacting things disappear. At least I think it's artifacting. It looks like artifacting. To me, at least. Well, I died because I wasn't paying attention. Yeah. It's weird. I don't understand it. However, Tyrion 2000 works no problem. It doesn't have any sort of weird problems at all. Yeah. See, no artifacting. It works perfectly fine. There's no problems. So don't ask me why, because I don't know. But if anybody has any information as to why regular Tyrion does that, let me know. It doesn't affect anything. It doesn't affect the gameplay at all. It's just a weird inconsistency thing that I noticed that wasn't there in the Pentium, but is there now in the K6. So yeah, that's pretty much the final form of the DOS machine. There's not too much else I would really add to it that I can really think of. It's pretty much where I want it to be in terms of its performance and the case, the build itself, the software. Well, of course I'm going to add more games eventually, but DOS and everything works fine. So I do have one future plan for the DOS machine, which I'm not going to tell you what it is. You're going to have to see for a future video, but I will tell you one thing. It does not involve DOS. It involves another operating system. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you didn't check out the previous DOS machine videos, I highly recommend that you watch them because sort of shed some more light on the whole situation of this as a whole. And so thank you for watching. Hope you have a good day. Bye.
The AMD K62 processor with 3D Now technology. Suddenly, the world inside your PC is no longer flat.